coolers for a bunch of stuff, and he told me I should donate it to her, and I'm like, it's not mine to donate, so if you guys want to donate it to Mary Hughes, I'm so okay with that. But yeah, Tim, I really don't think you could get any money out of it. They bought it from when Jim was still alive, so and I'm sure Jim didn't buy it new. So it has probably lived out its existence.
I just assume we list it for free and somebody just hauls it off if they want it.
I don't want it in my bait shop waiting for that.
Well, you have to take it out of your bait shop so you get the other one in there.
Mr. White came and picked up my big one out of my store. Maybe he'll go out there and get that one. The gentleman, you know who I'm talking about.
No, Mr. Who?
Dwayne White.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I know Dwayne. Yeah.
He might.
Yeah.
I got it.
Lisa, did you order that cooler?
Well,
Not yet.
Not yet, because
Okay.
I'll talk to you about that.
Are we okay with the $55 for delivering it?
Still way under the
I was
budget.
gonna say
Yeah.
1,900 was approved, up to
Yeah.
1,900 was
So-
approved, so. And I was able to get the taxes.
I think it's best that we have it delivered.
One other question, I have a city building request. They want to put a shed inside their fenced area. Who do I go to approve those?
Who wants to do it?
Well, a city resident had
Okay.
submitted a permit
Building
to
permit.
put a building permit to put a shed inside their fenced area.
Oh, okay.
We've had those in front of us in the last couple of years anyway. First I'll check with the county. Is the county's a zoning body. You have a zoning question. If it's just a
Well,
building
no, it's just a
permit.
building permit.
Okay,
They just want to put a
Yeah.
10 by 16 shed inside their fence.
I think you can use the same permit as the Fox, right?
Yeah, that's what we've done.
Well, it's very similar.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I mean,
I guess what
Yeah,
she's
it
getting at is
looks
who's gonna
almost
go down there and
exactly.
take pictures to approve it.
had Becky done that in the past?
That would probably be the
Too.
person. Yeah, if there's anyone.
Did she ever call you?
No.
Okay. That's all then.
When I put my she shed down there, as long as it was on skid and movable, it was okay. As long as it was away from the road and everything. But if it was permanent, then you
No,
need a
the city
permit.
code said anything that's moved in or replaced or built.
Yeah, I think it's still gonna be approved as a
Yeah.
building permit.
Whether it's on skids or not, it's still
Right.
classified.
Yes.
It's an accessory structure.
I had to get one for my building.
Okay.
All right, Aspen.
Yes. First from me is I got in contact with the vet that does the rabies clinic. And we are looking at June 10th or 24th. They're both Saturdays from 1:30 to 3.
June 24th, because the 10th is symphony and we will have a ton
Perfect.
Yes,
Perfect.
Yes.
Well,
Very-
that
very
answers
good.
that. Okay, 24th it is.
At what time did you say?
1:30 to 3. Last year we took about an hour and a half, and so we're thinking that it'll
Is it
probably.
at the firehouse?
Well, that's what was my next question: is who would be the contact at the firehouse to see if we can use it that day?
Mike.
Mike Bone.
Mhm.
Oh, well, okay.
So John was the fire chief.
Oh, well, John.
John.
But you get a better chance of getting a hold of Mike than you do John.
Okay.
Mike can radio John.
Okay. And then
Jenny Howell's doing that.
So that was all for that. I just wanted to know. So yes, hopefully we will be using the fire station for that, but I'll reach out to them, make sure it's available for that day. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the pit bull prohibition in the animal
It's on our.
control.
It's on the agenda.
Is it? Perfect. Where is that?
Can we just go ahead and do it now so Aspen don't have to stick around?
Well, I want to ask her about this dog out back first, before we get into that.
Okay. The dog out back, we are at the point now where we're gonna have to have him disposed of. I've had him for 2 weeks, and the owner has not made any attempt to collect him or even admit that the dog is his, because the dog isn't registered. I can't prove that the dog is his. And so I have a resident in town interested in adopting this dog, but
Bobby.
Dwayne Barrett was the name. Or Dwight. Was it Dwayne or Dwight? Dwayne. Okay. Was interested in adopting the dog, but obviously they're prohibited. So I reached out to him about the possibility of fostering the dog until we could perhaps figure out what we were doing about the pit bull prohibition. So that's where I'm at with the dog out there. I mean, I would rather not have the dog put down if we've got somebody to adopt him, but if he's prohibited in town, then it's a moot point. So
We can't take him to the humane shelter?
there's no one to take him. I have been in contact with a dozen different people and or wildlife places, everywhere from Scars to a guy I know up north, out north of Holton, people in Wichita, Manhattan, Topeka. I've called and contacted a lot of people in the last 2 weeks trying to find someone to take the dog. So I have exhausted all options. And I mean, and they were all putting out feelers too, you know. One lady in Topeka told me she had contacted 6 different people that she knew in Western Kansas. And then I spoke with Officer Angie from the school, and through her, we contacted a woman she knows in Missouri. And there was just nobody had any space for the dog. So
Are there any people in Topeka or Manhattan that runs like a rescue operation for these kind of animals?
oh yes, yeah, but they're full. They have no,
Okay.
I mean, unless you can find ones that I have not reached out to, I feel like I did a pretty exhaustive search of possibilities for this dog. So, I mean, if you guys have any ideas, I'm open to them, but I've been working on it.
Is
For the
he
last couple weeks.
vicious? Or is it
No.
because he's a pit?
It's because he's a pit.
You guys need to find out what that's-
So,
I know they talked about it last time.
So if my thought is, how long are we gonna wait before we just do something about the dog at this point? We're gonna give it another 5 days, 2 days?
well, and that's how long do you guys want to continue caring for him? Or the other option is we contact Auburn, who has done this for us in the past, and you take him and have him put down.
Well, I wouldn't want to see the dog get put down either. However, I understand if we have to do it, we have to do it. But I'm thinking if we've got till say Friday, then let's just.
Yeah.
get
Well,
word-
and I
get
think a
the
lot
word
of
out.
it depends on what happens tonight, because I could very well have him homed tomorrow if we decide to do away with the pit bull ban, and then that is that, you know. So a lot of it kind of hinges, I think, on what gets decided about that ban this evening.
Does it make sense to put it on like the city page or Eskridge Watch or something? I know that there's, more people that have eyes on that than just that live in the city.
Yeah,
Just to try to get some interest from somebody out of town. It's like, oh yeah, hey, I can use a pit bull.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not sure. Should I put like the adoption fees with it, or just wait to see if somebody reaches out?
It's probably, I don't know exactly what it would be. Cause I mean, we usually do like kind of a real cost of whatever it costs to take care of them.
Yeah, so I mean that's gonna change between
Yeah.
now and
So,
then. Or,
yeah, I mean, maybe say like, there will be, a fee to
Fees,
cover
yeah.
expenses or something like that to be determined.
that him?
It is.
Oh.
He's so sweet. I've
Those
been
we're
calling him
talking about
Roscoe.
Those are
I
talking
don't.
about it.
I just because I gotta call him something, so I've been calling him Roscoe. Probably doesn't help with the whole thinking about having him euthanized thing, but he's really sweet. And the other update on the property is I have prepared a letter about all of the violations on the property that will go out certified mail tomorrow. And then upon receipt of the letter, he'll have 24 hours to write the violations, or we will be seizing at least 4 more dogs from the property that I have no idea what we will subsequently do with. So it's yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna, so I mean, I feel like I've made a lot of connections with people to help with these dogs, but unfortunately none of them have places right now. So but yeah, I will definitely put a post up and get some more feelers out and see. I mean, I feel like I covered like the Eskridge, Auburn, Alma, Harveyville area pretty well as far as people, but anybody that can help reach out beyond that would be fantastic. So
All right. Thank you, Ashley.
no problem.
Hang around a few minutes and we'll get to your the other pit bull ordinance
Okay.
after we get rid of a couple people. That
No
are-
problem.
Unless y'all want to hang around for the rest of the meeting. Okay. Let's go next in line with the contract for Exodus disposal.
Purchase request.
Bruce and Mary, I don't know if you want to speak to the council or.
Nothing was written, so
Yep, they all have a copy. Yep.
Oh, well, so May, I believe was 2020 was when the previous 3-year contract expired. Obviously, we had our minds on other things, so then it skipped my mind. And I did get calls from the city asking about renewing. No excuses, but things happen, and Ron got sick, and things have been kind of difficult for us. But here we are today, and you can see that there's an increase. I think that the majority of that increase is simply because everything post-COVID has gone up immensely. And this is actually a pretty good deal from what we've been finding out from other places. In all honesty, we're not 100% sure that we could do a 3-year contract because everything is continuing to increase. You see the fuel prices, but that's not everything. You know, we've got the parts and the tires and, you know, insurance and taxes and such. So we would love to do business with you. We want to see what you think. How have we been in the past? We're just kind of here to see what you think of it all.
I'm thinking about just having everybody take their trash out to LWID and let them haul it for a few years.
I like that plan. If you can make it happen, I want to talk to you about some other things.
Yeah. No, I fully understand where you guys are coming from in this contract. I really do. I don't have a problem with it.
I'd like to speak to the dumpster over by the rope swing. That it was never the intent to have you guys empty that because of driving across the dam, and we weren't going to ask you to drive all the way around either. So just to
Thank you.
I don't think
put
that's
that
possible at all.
concern to rest.
Thank you. We weren't hearing it directly from anybody here,
Right.
and so we
Right.
weren't sure we were going to bring it up, but I'm glad you did. So the contract is showing an increase of the number of carts that we have out at the lake. 2020 did bring a lot more people out, and they're staying. And we are getting a little bit of trash from residents out there. It happens. The container at the bathrooms has been very full. We can't tell you where it's coming from exactly, but
We tried to get rid of them this winter so that they couldn't use them while
yes,
nobody's out there.
yes,
Hopefully we can use a camera and try to curb that.
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
I caught somebody last year when I was camping, and I watched a person drive up there, and I held my phone up. It wasn't even turned on. held my phone up and pointed at him. He started driving away, and then he looked at me and he stopped and he backed up and acted like, "Oh, gee, was I not supposed to do that?" So, I
You
I didn't-
have the dumpster out there now this year.
that's what I was going to ask. Are you still
We
you're still
have
going to
some
have?
on order. Again, 2020 has been fun. We went to plastic containers because we were able to get them sooner. And I forget the metal ones that we were trying to order last year. They,
Beyond.
yeah, they tripled in price.
Oh, yeah.
And so we went to plastic. We got them a little earlier than we thought. It only took 3 months. So 6 months, I apologize. And then the carts took 3 months. It's been a mess. So we're trying, and we've got some on order. They say our ship date is May 19th. We will get something out there prior to. Bruce is
Well,
gonna-
there's a few cans out there now, so
well,
good for the moment.
we need to get the container, and we realize that. So I guess we as a team is going to be working on it. So,
Good delegation.
Isn't that fun? So the container will be there. The carts will be more. Prices have gone up significantly on those, and we've kind of, in the past, those carts and the container has not really been in the contract. So we added it in this year so we can make sure that we're on the same page. Any thoughts on any of that? And has there been a good job? Is there any concerns about anything?
I have no concerns whatsoever with the trash service. I think you guys are doing a great job. I'd even thought last year, I mean, I kind of had the, fuel prices in my head. It's like, gosh, why haven't they asked for a renegotiation yet
You know,
so, I mean,
our priority has been based on getting the trucks ready to go for the next day. And he does have to sleep
You
sometimes.
did get a little benefit of that because when COVID hit, fuel prices plummeted.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's.
So it's averaged out now, is that what you're saying?
it's averaged in a higher part. It's higher and it's averaging out. But the tires didn't come back down.
Right.
They don't fluctuate that way, so.
Still went up 47% last year.
Mm.
We should have raised it last year, but was wrong. All that was.
Anyway,
Any further discussion on the contract?
question on my part, I believe we mark up the service slightly before it hits the consumer. I thought it was $1.25. Is that still
Just $1
$1?
is all
Okay.
that city has, and that's just on the initial cart. For those that have the extra carts, it's just been we add that on to the customer's bills, but the city doesn't collect.
right.
Okay.
And
We just
Sally's been working with you on who has how many, and we're hopefully gonna get that narrowed down. more
Yeah,
specific.
I think it needs to be, a little more thorough.
They kind of
Inventory.
They grow feet and they walk all over. the
So we're
place.
working on that,
No.
but
Yeah,
just
around
$1. So
house.
that's, I kind of prepared an ordinance to go with that, but you need to move on the contract first. So, but $1 per cart per customer is what, not per cart, per customer
That you add.
that we add
Okay, so we are at $3 now.
for the additional
carts.
cart.
The cart price is included in the 17.25. So that is.
So it's be $17.25 per household.
It includes the cart.
One
There's
cart.
No extra charge for the one cart.
Okay.
And maybe
Like $5, isn't it? For-
It's 14.
It's 14, which then we raised it $1, so 15. So I think it's pretty straightforward. I'd maybe consider bumping up our franchise fee or whatever you want to call it, maybe a little bit more. I know that solid waste fund has been nice when there's been special projects, and I think we used that for gravel one time and another purpose. So I'd maybe like to go like $1.25, $1.50. Consider that, but
I already thought I was paying $1.50.
I think we ought to charge them extra per cart
okay. As a
and then go into
like
that
maybe
fund
mark
as
that
well.
up 50 cents or
Something,
$1 or something. Yeah.
Do you want to approve the contract first and then we can talk about the ordinance?
Yes, that's a good idea.
I moved to approve.
I second it.
All right. We have a motion to approve the contract with Exodus Disposal for 3 years effective June 1st of this year, seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
As a citizen, I want to tell you that their employees think they're pretty great.
Well, we think their employees are pretty good too. So
Yeah.
they've always been here since I've been here. Okay,
Mary, you said June
Bruce and Mary,
1st.
isn't that when it starts, June
Doesn't
1st?
it start May 1, Mary?
You know, we were talking about it, putting it out there, for, you said you had to post it somewhere.
Well, yeah, we have to pass an ordinance, so it could be effective our May 1
That's
billing.
still gonna work for you?
Yeah, it should if
Yeah.
they
I
have
put
any.
June, not knowing, thinking, you know, if it had to be, that's fine. May's great with us.
Okay.
We need to modify that comment. What's your name again, Todd? Don't have to talk about it.
No, it's, I mean, it's presumed that you're continuing with the old one till the new one gets
Okay.
engaged.
I just went by June 1st because that's what was on this contract. So,
Sure,
but
absolutely.
it will go into effect May 1st.
May 1. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
If you ever have anything, please feel free.
Oh, we know how to get a hold of you.
And we do that enough already.
All right, well, good luck.
Mary,
Thank you.
I think you guys do a great job.
Sign.
Sign. You guys want to sign this?
Yeah.
And then I'll make copies of it.
Called a solid waste fund. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, that's where that goes.
And we don't have a,
It's a line item. You see it on the treasurer's reports.
yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay, yeah, very
Can't
good.
find it either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's an
solid
opportunity.
waste fund.
Yes, it's not gonna hurt to increase the price of a cart a little bit. And the additional carts as well, and help build that solid waste fund. All right, let's go to the pit bull ordinance now.
Oh, don't we need to do this other
Oh.
ordinance?
Did we vote on it?
So,
We did,
Okay,
okay,
so
okay, all right, I'm sorry, we didn't even vote on it, did we?
Well, there was an ordinance, it's a separate ordinance.
Please don't break yourself while you're
Right.
here.
For the fees.
That
for-
pizza for
So we didn't have to vote on his contract, right?
you already did.
That's what I thought, okay, I'm just
And
trying to
then
verify that.
And
That's
then
what you
Michelle
did.
Right.
approved
Yeah,
the
yeah.
contract.
Right,
So now we
Agreed.
need to approve the
That one.
extra rate
okay, all
that
right,
we're going
Had
to
to
Yeah.
charge.
Right.
gotcha.
This thing, right? The ordinance.
Cause I hate this.
Ordinance
Yes,
587.
Yeah,
Not doing it right now.
not now, yeah, because I'm listening.
So
Yeah,
what did you
there
guys
you go.
say? Per household, per cart, additional. Don't we need to put that? For each single family dwelling unit. Monthly fee.
Now,
You saying, Justin?
you said, earlier you said we're charging $1 more than what Exodus is charging us for the,
Yes.
for
I
the
didn't say
units.
that. He said
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean,
Well,
She
yes,
said
that is
that.
what, that is
When
correct.
I'm saying you encompasses all of y'all. How's that?
So like maybe 1875 for monthly fee, which would be $1.50 raise.
And how much was the previous difference in the extra carts?
$1.
$1 per cart extra? So what did you charge? You only charge them $1 for an extra for an extra cart? Just $1?
No,
Yes.
this is the monthly fee.
No, you passed it through, right? The extra carts.
Yes,
Was
the
just an
extra
actual
cart was
cost.
just, they charged $1.25 extra, the customer paid $1.25 extra.
Okay,
But your one cart per household was $1 extra
right,
per month.
right. Okay,
The
so
city
I'm good with
collected.
that, yeah.
But
That's 18 and a quarter, right?
did
you guys
Justin
want-
think about making it $1.50 or something? So what, somebody commented
Yeah.
about making it a little more than just $1.
Yeah. So I thought 1875 would be $1.50. If that's the amount we filled in that first blank.
I mean, that's what we would need. Yeah. It's not stapled on that right here.
And the additional carts can be discussed,
I
but
thought I had one.
we probably ought to mark it up too for just the
And that's-
administrative aspect of it.
Well, yeah, that's,
That's
yeah.
$3. Is that what they're charging us? $3
Mhm.
per extra?
For extra.
Yes.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay. So how much for extra cart?
What are they charging us now for an extra cart?
Well, the new contract, it's $3. an
$3.
extra cart.
Okay, so under,
Previously, we did not charge anything for, we paid them,
the exact amount.
Yes.
Exactly $3.
Yeah.
Okay. Personally, I think there's an opportunity there to increase that fund, and we should take advantage of it. But you guys need to decide that. You're gonna charge them the exact same thing that Exodus is charging us for the extra card? You're charging $1.50 more, right, for above their cost?
Yeah.
So it's $18.75 for the first card?
Yep.
Which would be the, per household?
Maybe $3.75 for an extra card, mark it up 75 cents, the half of the $1.50. I just,
It's a start. Throw it out there. It's a start.
all right, I moved pass ordinance 587 with the monthly fee set at $18.75 per dwelling unit, and additional cards for an extra $3.75 per month per card.
who seconded?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Okay, we have a motion to accept ordinance number 587 for a monthly fee of $18.75 per dwelling unit per month, and additional cards would be available for an extra $3.75 per month per cart. And that was seconded by Michelle. Is there any further discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote on that. Michelle,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Brett, Justin.
Yes.
Shouldn't we wait for Brett to return?
No,
No, because I think it's gonna be a minute.
just go
I'll be
ahead
back
and
then.
complete the roll call.
Okay. Roll call passes 4-0.
Did you vote? I just thought you
Yeah.
talked.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Yes,
Yes, you did vote, or you're voting yes?
I'm voting yes.
Okay, thank you.
And
All
that,
right,
so
I'm
that's
sorry. I
Will
four,
we watch his vote
zero.
later?
No, he wasn't here,
necessary.
he's absent.
Stepped out.
Showed his absence for the vote. And it passes.
That's how you get out of it, huh?
Yeah, anytime.
Same as an abstention. I mean,
Didn't vote for it, didn't vote against it.
This Buffalo is out.
well,
I see
actually, is
587 on here.
Oh, really?
No, it's not on that. I just.
Thank you for telling me that.
He's got Buffalo out.
Oh, lovely.
So he said he'd be back.
So it wasn't having just a nicotine fit.
Yeah,
This was
No, it wasn't just
a
stepping
real
out.
emergency.
He wasn't trying to
Later, I'll
avoid.
take
I'll have to send it to the newspaper. for
Yeah, I wouldn't want to lose one of those either.
Correct. Good.
Everyone wants to get one.
No.
All right,
I'd make him mad.
okay. He should have waited for this next one because he's really determined on this one. Pit bull ordinance, next up.
Is he wanting it or wanting it gone?
I think he wants it gone.
I think it's a bit silly. We can't really prosecute it. I mean, right? You can't prove the breed, even if it looks and talks like a pit bull. You can't.
Well, I mean, it may be useful in dog attacks when they've done in other cities when pit bulls are ripped open somebody and they have to have 27 stitches across the belly. Kind of helpful to have that in your back pocket because usually they're not too eager to fight it at that point.
Now, let me ask you this, Todd. Do we have a vicious animal
Yeah.
ordinance?
Mhm.
And wouldn't that vicious animal fall under that?
Sure.
Then we don't need a pit
Then
bull
we don't
ordinance.
need it.
That's what I've been thinking for several
Well,
weeks.
the pit bull ordinance is in advance. They're assuming that a breed that is dangerous and can be restricted upon its potential dangerousness, its nuisance factor. But that's a policy question. It's not anything to do with anything. If you guys don't want it, that's fine.
And this is separate from all dogs being kept on a leash anyway when they're outside the confines of their property, right?
Yeah.
There are specifications in the code specifically for the keeping of pit bulls. Leash and muzzle, specific requirements for their confinements, so.
But the reason it's written the way it is because there can be no pit bull. It was written that way so that a pit bull maintained before 1998 would be treated that way.
Right,
Since
right.
there's no living pit bull from pre-1998,
So
then
basically, that whole section
it's
is
inoperative at this point
Yeah.
because there can be no
right.
grandfathered dog.
Now, if you took out the subsection L about pit bulls being prohibited, would it make everything before that
Yeah,
valid again?
yeah, it would. If you took out that, then you're having folks who have rather extreme requirements on them for keeping of an animal for no reason other than the fact that it's pit bull.
Yes.
Again, the same problem is that now it becomes a question of whether I can prove, because you didn't have the required enclosure, I still have to prove it's pit bull.
Uh-huh.
So you've just made another difficult question, difficult legal proof. So, I mean, my point would be, vicious animal thing covers that. Just let that whole thing go, repeal it if that's what you want to do. And they're just like any other dog. If they attack somebody and hurt them, they're in trouble. The owner's in trouble. If they sit out in their yard and are all happy and never hurt anybody, then that's fine too. If they're running at large, they're a dog at large.
That's how I feel about it.
Mhm.
100%.
And maybe we get all these people that are hiding their pit bulls in their homes to come out with them and pay the registration fee for having them in the city.
That was gold, man.
I forgot to turn it on.
I'll say it
on
again.
YouTube.
Yeah, I'll say it again, so I'll charge you twice for that.
I'm sorry, I'm not used to all these electronics. I'm old fashioned.
You forgot to turn it on? It's on now.
What? No, the recorder.
Oh, the recorder. Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Let me fix this.
Just stop it.
You're on there for posterity.
So that's probably the question is just a repeal an ordinance that says pretty much the whole of.
Do you repeal the ordinance or repeal that section of the code?
Well, technically you repeal a section of it.
Okay.
You
Just
need
the
an
other
ordinance,
opinion.
It would be
You need-
2303, keeping with pit bull dogs.
Yep. pretty much,
Yep.
the whole thing. So
Thank you. Finally.
you can.
Well, we haven't done anything yet.
Ordinance written
So
before.
hang on.
The exact
Slow your
text.
roll there,
Don't
Ollie.
jump in.
All you, well, I mean, you have to have an
I'm done.
ordinance, but the
The
ordinance
voting.
says
I mean,
is, basically
We're
section
discussing.
1. Section 2303 is hereby repealed, period. 2, effective on publication. 3, by
So
the end.
Well, I guess so. Can it be voted for tonight without that full text in front
I
of us?
wouldn't know.
Okay, so
I mean, understanding that you guys are not going to be, you're probably going to be repealing the ordinance. Is that the general consensus?
Mhm.
That the city officer and the city prosecutor won't proceed with any enforcement until such time as that is passed, as long as it is done in a reasonable dispatch. But then, if not,
He's trying to make up for what didn't get recorded earlier.
Yeah,
yeah,
he wants to get paid for his legalese.
we just voted that through. So I mean, come on.
yeah,
Getting your paycheck.
yeah. That's it.
They're continuing
start
business.
including direct quotes in the minutes.
Okay, so we got that squared away. That wasn't so bad, was it?
No.
Do we all agree on that? I mean,
I'll
So an
probably
ordinance
abstain
will
when it comes
be-
up, but just, I'm on the fence about it, so.
Well, now you,
Well, I agree on
everybody knows.
everything.
Nobody knows too who's
what about you,
Armquist.
Tim? What's your lean?
I don't like mean dogs.
I don't like mean dogs either. That's been a.
I've seen a lot of dogs this big that are very mean.
I feel like we
Yeah.
ignore the pit bulls that live here all the time.
I feel like
Principally.
Don't go
I
banning at the wall.
definitely, and I mean, I feel like with what's happening with this property,
Mhm.
I really want it settled, because if I have to take these pit bulls simply because they're pit bulls, what about if somebody else's pit bull that they've had for a decade gets loose? And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's
Yeah.
just something I don't want to have to run into personally.
So the full text would be presented possibly at the next meeting to vote on.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be offended if you want to look and see if you got a phone for it. It's all it is. It says it's hereby repealed.
Okay, I'll look and see what we have.
And
Does it make sense to strengthen the vicious dog ordinance kind of to offset that? I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there. But
well, I think as it is right now, it pretty much covers everything that could happen. Meaning, it's got a penalty. You can take a look at it, but it's got a penalty on it already. And frankly, the judge can always order restitution. That's what I've done. Is the penalty is, secondary to the fact that somebody got their ankle bit and they had to have, go to the doctor and get a shot and get it wrapped up and sewn up or whatever. Even a little dog or whatever nips and hurt their ankle. Doesn't matter. Come with your bill from your doctor and I'll put it in there and that's the restitution.
Because the vicious dog part of it does not specify breeds whatsoever.
Yep.
Not at all. It covers any dog that has been permitted or encouraged to attack or bite or otherwise harm somebody, unless doing so in protecting their owner or owner's property, or you know what I mean, like somebody broke into your home and your dog attacked them, they would not be considered a vicious dog. You know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
My dog is licking.
Standing the ground.
Yeah.
Stand your ground, that's good.
It's water.
While we're talking about the dogs, and you had just mentioned the rabies clinic,
Uh-huh.
and that's usually a drive to get people to get their dogs registered.
Yes.
I would like to have something set up as a reminder so that we can tell Joe Blow, hey, you got your dog registered last year. It's expiring next month. Would you like to read?
Absolutely. And I believe we discussed this at one meeting, and I am working on spreadsheets so that I can just automatically kick out letters every month based on the date. Autofill Joe Blow's name and mail it off and remind him.
Well, a lot of times people only register their dog when they go to the rabies clinic, and then if they miss the rabies clinic,
Which I think the city code, which would simplify Aspen's, it says all dogs will be registered by July 1
July 1, yeah.
of every year. It doesn't, so, I mean, if everybody registered at the same time, I speak from experience in another job, it makes
If
it
we're
simple
being
when
honest,
you're,
they won't all register in town on that
but
date.
it's a bookkeeping, it makes bookkeeping easier as far as everybody's dog tags come to July 1 and, but,
whether they go to the rabies clinic or not, they
yeah.
need to pay it just like your car.
Yeah.
tax.
Yes, and that's the thing. There are people in town that aren't going to use our rabies clinic. They use their own personal vet that might come in May to renew. But that's what Tim is talking about. These people in town aren't all going to be renewing on one date. So let's have a reminder, a month, 2 weeks, something like that, that, hey, come March 2nd, your dog registration needs to be renewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that right, Tim?
That's exactly what I would like.
Yeah.
We can send one out a month before June 1st. We can send one out. That's a
Well,
month before
Lisa
they're
and I are working,
required.
now that I have the dates for the rabies clinic, we are going to send with the May newsletter a reminder, a copy of the ordinance about registering dogs, and the rabies clinic info out with the May newsletter. So that will go out to pretty much everybody.
Just what I was gonna ask.
You didn't get your newsletter?
Just every quarter, Julie.
Oh, okay.
You would have got one in February with your city bill.
It's okay.
Oh, was that what was in that envelope?
It is. It said bill enclosed.
Any further discussion on the pit bull ordinance?
My bad.
Okay, thank you,
I
Aspen.
thought that was just a trick to
So
get me
what-
to open junk man.
What's the final decision?
We'll have an ordinance next time. We'll repeal it, but until then,
Okay.
it's inoperative.
Okay, and what did we decide with the dog? You're gonna give me till Friday?
Well,
That's my kid's bedtime.
Well, now, if you guys are gonna repeal that, can she not adopt it out?
yeah, I was just getting ready to say that if we're gonna repeal that, that doesn't necessarily, it still
Okay.
doesn't mean that we have to hold his dog for 2 more weeks. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
But we
I
can
mean, if it's like pretty much we're repealing this, I can get this guy home.
Yeah,
probably.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. Let's get the dog out of our hands that way as quickly as we can.
Perfect.
But do
Maybe
we
even
need
if, maybe even
the
if people,
cost to cover the, I mean, is that what we talked about?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we're gonna try to adopt it out that way with what it
Yeah.
Cover
costs.
the
And I'll
expenses.
come up with
Yeah.
an exact sum, an adoption fee, if you will.
Yeah.
Same when we worked on when we adopted out the Chihuahuas. Basic cost of, what it costs to take care of the dog, and then what would be considered the impoundment fee, I guess, if you were the owner of the dog. So
Now, I have personally have never witnessed all these dogs everybody says this guy has, and supposedly they're out all the time. I go by that place several times
this
a
is
week,
actually
and
the
I've never
first
seen them.
time one has been out.
But my point is, I don't know anything about him or her or the dogs that they're controlling. I don't know if they're training them to be vicious or not.
They're all
But-
very kind.
And so with that in mind, maybe you can approach him and say, hey, the council's gonna repeal this ordinance, it sounds like. Do you want
Well,
this
like I
dog
said, I
back?
have a letter going to him about the violations for cleanliness, care of dogs. I mean, they're not getting fed, they're not getting watered, but
Send
not
them
just
back.
the pit bulls, all the dogs on premises. So
What'd you say, Todd?
Don't send them back if he can't care for
Okay,
them.
Right.
that's what I'm trying to
Right.
find out.
Well, and did he have excess of 4 dogs too?
4 on premises,
Okay.
outside, 2 in the house. Plus the one we have out there that I technically can't prove is his because it's
Right.
not registered. So that would have been a total of 7 dogs, but right now where it sits, there's 6 on property, which is still over the amount. So
All right,
so
thank
that letter goes out to him tomorrow, and then we'll.
you. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, next up on the agenda is Wake Boats, WAKE boats. And it looks to me, I'm gonna guess that Michelle did some research on this, right? Is that where all the paperwork came from? Thank you very much
And
for
Tim
doing that.
also.
And Tim, thank you both for getting that together.
You have a picture on?
Oh, what?
A picture?
She's gonna get one.
They look like a regular ski boat.
She'll get it.
Okay. Well, because, I mean, if they bring it out to me,
I think if you went online,
oh,
you could see.
So is it the hull or something shape?
There's some shape about it that causes those waves
Some
to,
weight in it to sink down in the water.
It gives a description in here. It said the propellers are at a slant. They're not.
It's an inboard. Right?
Yes, and they're just designed to make a great big, 2 big waves, and people can get on a kneeboard or I
but
think
it's got that like
right
little.
behind them, right up close to the other, right behind them, and then the waves.
Our lake just is not big enough for that kind of power, number one.
And a large lake, there's room for them to dissipate when they crash into the shore.
So the idea here is just to make a rule and reg that forbids them. And
Yeah. It was one of the suggestions from the lake
it's
crowd
easy enough.
last time.
And when they said, I'd never heard of them, they said, go home and Google it. And I watched 3 videos and I was sold. They need to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
they're developing pontoon boats that can do the same thing.
Nothing on the back.
Currently, typical wave height is 4 feet high, and they're working on a gigantic type one that could push them at 6 foot.
And this information was in 2020, so they probably already made
Right,
it.
yes. They probably made them long before we even thought about reaching.
And the fact that we're raising the rates on people for having docks out there, I think we should do our part and do what we can to help protect their property.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
protect
yeah.
their dogs.
So this be a vote to change the rules and regs to forbid wake boats on the lake.
I move no wake boats on our little tiny lake
Effective when?
yesterday.
Immediately.
Immediately,
Yeah.
I say that.
Immediately.
Okay, motion to ban wake boats at Lake Wabunsee effective immediately by Tim, seconded by Michelle. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay, those opposed?
I
None.
think we need to have Julie make up a sign or something and
Yeah, you,
And
until you
nice
got the
right.
rules and regs actually physically changed. I don't know if you want to write on the copies you already got of the regs.
I haven't made that, I mean, I can add that to our.
I just put up a sign that says no leak, but I'm gonna have to get on there and do a little research of my own.
Is there a
so I can-
horsepower listed on these wake boats?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
right.
curious.
It's probably maxed out. It's
Well,
probably above the 160. I mean, if it's an inboard and all that.
That's what
Yeah,
I
but
was
we have
figuring, if
axles
it
out there
creates
that have
that kind of a
80 horsepower.
wake,
Which
it's gotta
is-
be
Oh, yeah.
a huge motor.
I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a heavy duty boat like that or a wake boat unless I saw the waves.
Yeah.
They don't look much different,
That's what I'm saying. The only way you're gonna be able to tell is by the waves that they put out there.
Yeah.
or until they get in the water, they squat way down, and the boat is just right above the water.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to keep them out of the water.
Yeah. Okay,
I think it won't take long for somebody gets a phone call and says, "Hey, there's one of them out of here."
Well,
I hope
we had a
Then
video.
they're trespassing. Call the law.
Do you remember, do y'all remember a few years ago when a plane landed on the lake?
No, I wrote them a ticket.
Plane.
yeah, because they didn't have a
landed
permit to
on
land
the
on our
lake.
lake.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they didn't. They charged
And I
me.
can't remember, yeah.
Was
Was it an emergency landing or just goofing
No.
around?
he's just being a jackass.
And then they started clear to take off over the dam.
Was that time?
Charlie Ridgway's
I
sister
don't know,
videoed
it's
it.
funny.
Cheryl
I wish I
Dolan.
had been there.
I'd love to see it.
Me too.
All right, let's move on. Next thing on the agenda, you should have a request for a street dance.
Move to approve the street dance request.
May
I'm
27th.
in favor of street dances.
And this is just the city is approving it, and I'm gonna ask the state to allow you guys to shut the road down because it's K4.
Do you want to have?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I have to do
Oh, nice.
the dance for the baby.
Oh, good.
Man, I should
Did you
have done
second
that for
that?
my 70th.
Didn't you?
Only it was too cold.
Born at the wrong time, I guess.
I'll have it next year for my 75th if I take it that far.
You just weren't in the right mind.
June 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question, because we have to send a letter to KDOT requesting permission to, and provide detours and all that stuff. Do you want to give that responsibility to this individual, or do you want the city guys to move all the street signs and, I mean, I'll send the letter to KDOT, but,
Move what street signs?
well, the street closed.
Detour.
Yeah.
Detour.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're not moving any signs. We're just putting a blockade up with a sign that says detour is all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just didn't know if,
Who's gonna do that? Is Michelle the one having the party? Is
Who's
she-
done it in the past?
Well, in the
well, the
past,
city's
it's
done
done.
for the fall festival and.
They blocked the roads for the fall festival and they've got
I beg
permission
to
through
differ.
KDOT.
I did it last time. It was a lot of work.
It is.
It's
But she
rough.
was running the fall festival. And the fall
I'm
festival
joking.
did.
I'm joking. It was a joke. I shouldn't have said it.
I'm laughing now, but I was taking you serious.
So just for clarification, so the guys know whether they need to haul the signs up or have Doyle do it.
Don't help me out there.
Either or, I don't know.
I'm just asking for
Yeah,
clarification.
Probably a good idea to have us do it, I think.
I would think that would be the better thing to do.
Okay.
yeah.
And the street dance doesn't start
Just to
till
be sure.
7. Any indication, Lisa, did she give you any indication when they were gonna start setting up and doing things?
No, she had emailed this to Stephanie back.
I'm just
then,
thinking about
and I just-
the time of day we'd block the road, starting at what time? Well, we got time to figure that
Yeah.
out. This is April 10th and we're talking 6 weeks basically from now.
Yeah.
Let's get with Michelle and find out, and then we can tell our guys we need to block the road at 2 in the afternoon or 1 in the afternoon, whatever.
One at night.
Yeah, they'll do it.
Huh?
So you have a motion on it.
Day
Repeat it for me,
before.
please.
Justin moved, Tim seconded. to
Okay.
allow the street dance.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Justin to allow the street dance on May 27th, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay, very good. Passes 4-0. Okay, under continuing council business, unless you have information, I think, looks like you might.
I do on this
Okay,
KDHE
KDHE,
loan for the
okay.
sewer. Mike said he got a hold of Ben Kramer, and just because of the extension of time that the city has gone on this sewer, it's a technicality to approve this amendment to the loan agreement. You want to look at it, Tom? We've had
Why
it
would I want to look at this?
for, we've had it for a
Only a
while.
loan.
Yeah,
They still have the same like 0.25% interest rate or whatever.
I
From the
think, yeah,
revolving fund or, yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, at least they didn't jack that up on us, which is really nice. Yeah.
But yeah, according to Ben, via Mike, it was just it's a technicality that it needs to be approved.
What was the interest rate?
No, it's 0.25%, I thought it said. It didn't seem like they changed it from whenever it was offered last time to us.
0.25% plus after 3, 128, 2.9.
No,
Well,
okay.
Mike said something about, is this basically going to be paid for by USDA grant?
Well, but is this borrowed yet? It's not borrowed.
No, it's not borrowed.
They're just doing the availability of funds for the loan. Okay, yeah, eventually, if that's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's USDA back.
yeah, USDA, this is the interim loan, and then once construction takes place, it's kind
It's
of
a
like,
temporary finance.
yeah, it's kind of like a construction loan, and then you go get your 30-year loan for your house, that kind of deal. Right, quick too, but
I'm familiar, it's fine.
Okay,
cool.
so we need to take action on it?
Yeah, they would need to approve the extension.
Okay.
So move.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Justin to approve the extension on the KDHE loan for the sewer, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay. It is approved. Any information you have for blighted property tonight?
Well, Brett asked me to bring it up, and I found Becky's files. There was 3 properties that were to be revisited in March.
Mhm.
And I know the owners showed up, but then we didn't have any information, so it's on Joel Bryan at 106 Mulberry, Linda Pope at 111 South Locust, and Haley Waller at 202 Pine.
It's gonna be kind of hard to do anything, I would think, but I don't know. We'll let our resident counselor advise us. We can take any action without the person being here because we don't really know what the shape of the properties are in right now.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not tracking you. Those people were here in March.
They were,
They were here and it
Here
didn't get brought up
previously.
because it wasn't on the agenda, I think. That's the reason it didn't get brought up.
exactly.
And Becky wasn't here.
Because Becky wasn't here.
27th?
There was 2 that were supposed to be on the 13th of March, and then the last meeting on March 27th, an individual was supposed, and they were here, but
Did
we
they
didn't
make
have-
they made a request to have a hearing?
it was a follow-up to see if they had
Improved.
improved
Well,
progress on
you
their
guys don't
property.
have any information, so the only thing you could do is give them probably another notice. The city officer, if the matter would be considered as later, like April 17th or whatever, or not 17th, April
Well, all 3
24th.
of them have improved their yards.
I've noticed that too, but I'm not in a
Right, I
position
don't
to
have
say,
pictures or,
I think you have to have, I think somebody has to give them written notice,
how much advance warning they need.
probably 10 days, 2
So
weeks.
if we get a letter out tomorrow, that's plenty for us to do
Yeah.
something on the 24th.
Yeah, so basically you need to be present on the 24th because violations of property now, that assumes that you guys would have information at that time from somebody who's the officer, the pictures and stuff like that, so you could act.
I'll get in touch with Becky.
Yeah.
Even if they have to go down to Dover and eat lunch someday.
Speaking of blighted property situations and you, I wasn't at the meeting when somebody used somebody else's dumpster.
Yeah.
You told the first somebody you will pay for it. Apparently he has not.
Yeah, and I had a contact, I think, from the folks who did have the dumpster, and I asked them to turn over.
And that's one of them that's on here.
Yeah, I need the information. I need they said they had, I saw it on Facebook when I was there that night, but or a couple days later, I think. But I do need the photographs and the bills and stuff like that so that I can have the information to do that. So if those people are listening, please send that to me and I can take action.
You need photos?
Photos of the dumpster, the bills that they paid to whomever for the pickup or the cost or whatever they did.
All right, I'll tell you that.
He took out the jacuzzi. That's what I heard.
Yep.
So, but not
What?
the rest of the trash.
Well, then that's, I think I was clear that night. I didn't care if
You
you
said
took
everything.
I said everything?
Yeah. He will pay to have it emptied and brought back empty.
Yeah. Well, and then taking the jacuzzi out didn't make a difference. I wasn't gonna allow that. So.
All right, I will tell you.
Okay. Move on again. Next item on the agenda is the city clerk position. My understanding is a few days ago, we only had the two original.
Well, and one was handed to me tonight, so I don't
You
know.
had a third one.
Yeah.
So we now have a third one. Good.
But I don't know how you want to proceed with any interviews or just reviewing, if you want to review those applications in executive session at some point, or
Where do you want me to review them and pick them?
We were just trying to decide how to do it.
Well, I mean, usually we interview, right?
Yes. And there's only three, so we can interview all three of them. Wouldn't be necessary to just eliminate them. Unless there's something very blatant on their application that would throw them out. You want to take a quick glance now at the three resumes?
I mean, we had three to start, and then one.
And one of them dropped because
dropped.
they found a job.
Okay,
That left us with two.
and then we got a third.
And we ran the ad for 2 more weeks, and we picked up a third one now. So we now have 3.
I mean, I'm okay setting up interviews, but it's up to you guys. What do you guys think?
As am I.
Do you have a particular day?
No.
No, I just shut it because it totally runs forever.
We want to make a decision pretty soon, I think,
Yeah.
before we lose the treasurer to being overworked.
Please warn us
Here's
before it
changing
happens.
color.
what's that?
Please warn us before
Oh.
that happens.
About 6
I
months.
would not do that
Yeah,
to
6
you.
months before, yeah.
Do we want to try to get it in before next meeting, or
I'd like to do it before next meeting, yes, if you guys want to, let's get it in there.
I could do next Monday? This whole week is
Oh, the
awful
17th, yeah.
for us.
I'm good with the 17th. Brett, interviewing the 3 applicants on the 17th of April, 7 o'clock. Annie,
I can do any time. That's my day off. So. I don't know what everybody else's work looks like. Though. I think it's this. Yeah, this Monday 17th.
if we called a special meeting, we could actually pick somebody that night, couldn't we?
Well, if you're wanting to do the employee handbook as a special meeting, then
That's what I was just pointing out
Combine 'em.
today.
kill 2 birds with 1
Invoices
stone.
are on their way. I think they just walked in.
Oh,
Did you
they
send
must
her a
have
note?
been watching.
Yes, he was.
Good. And that was what
17th,
time for that meeting?
He didn't say 7.
I'm sorry,
I said we go with 7 o'clock, just like
a regular
A
meeting.
normal? Okay.
but
assuming the applicants can.
Do you want to do the interview and the employee handbook
Same night.
same night?
Okay, sounds good.
Might as well, if we're gonna come here and we're already spending the money on a
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
And if it's a
Great
special
idea.
meeting, you can take action, so.
And we'll limit it,
Is
the whole
everyone-
meeting to an hour.
Do you want,
And are you gonna send us?
Yeah, that's just for the first interviewer.
I will, do you want like 20-minute increments, 30-minute increments? Do you want them to take any type of skill test? I mean, that's what they've done in the past, but
Yes, on the skill test. I forget what we've done though. I know there's like a
like
typing.
proofreading, typing,
Yeah,
Excel spreadsheet,
you still have all that?
I believe
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Okay.
That's gonna be
I-
busy.
In the zip line at the lake, they gotta pass that one.
Yeah, there we go. Have to go build
I've got
that.
it.
If we will identify a wake vote.
It's on the 20th.
So back to
That's how this.
if I
week is
call
for
and
me.
schedule interviews,
And if I'm.
how long do you want to allot for?
This, do you do the skill test before the interviews or after?
They could do them before.
In the past, I think we've done the skill tests.
Before.
We had them all show up at like an hour before. They all do their skill tests and then we take them one by one and interview them.
For like 15-20 minutes.
The interviews were very short.
And these skill tests are written tests?
Well, there's a file up in there that I located and it had like proofreading and it had like typing and
10 key.
10 key
That's right. Yeah.
and like a Excel spreadsheet, you know, whether they can maneuver, you know, get around Excel, a Word document, set up a Word document, you know. High school.
And we have to have a computer to do all this on, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to see if they have any
Sure.
abilities.
I'd say just any time if they want to come in, like,
Even before that?
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
was
cool with
thinking,
that.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of difficult to run them in here at 6 and even for an hour
Yeah.
and then
They've
Try
always
to-
had that done prior in the past
Yeah.
and the results
Yeah.
were there.
I don't want somebody looking over somebody's shoulder to see how to
Right.
maneuver through Excel either.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so I'll set up interviews for the 17th and I'll work with them prior to set up the skills test.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the interview, yes, tell them they need to come in anytime before the 7th, anytime prior to 6 p.m. prior to 6 p.m. on the 17th. So we'll have the results prior to 5 o'clock on the 17th.
Okay,
And then that way we'll have, if anybody doesn't do it until that following Monday, it gives us time to get the results. And then we can interview them starting at 7. Do you all have them in the same room with the interview while the interview's being?
No, we have two
No.
of them sitting out there and one of them comes in here and
Because a
sits.
special meeting would be open to the public.
no, but you call them in executive session.
Yeah, you
Oh.
call the meeting open, then you go to executive session. Personnel.
Mhm.
Can do that.
Sure, personnel.
Okay. I
No,
didn't know
personnel.
prospective personnel's covered in that.
It is.
Okay.
And would you be here at this meeting, Todd, the special meeting? No.
No, usually, 17th.
Everybody must have got out of their system.
No, I can't.
And-
You're in
and
another city, aren't you?
Another city.
I'm in 2 other cities at the same
I
time.
have a
You're
lot,
Superman.
but it was 6 months ago.
So having the executive session for the city clerk position, would we also go into the special we'd also do an executive session on the handbook, or is that open meeting?
That's open meeting. That's always gonna be, you
Okay,
can't make that,
I'm just-
that's policy.
just so I've got a pretty good idea of what to say come next Monday.
So really, we don't have to have a whole lot of structure to 15-minute time slots or anything. It's just kind of when you get called back, you get called back. So.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I don't remember seeing, is there a list of questions that you've had in the past?
Yeah. I probably have a copy of one of those somewhere.
Well, and there might be in that packet of stuff too. I'll have to research and see what was in there.
We'll ask Todd this question. I read where, I shouldn't say, I read this only because it was brought to my attention that we could not legally ask if they've ever been convicted of a felony.
Yeah.
And I looked that up, and that does not apply in Kansas except to the executive branch, unless that's changed. The executive branch being the governor's office.
Well, the problem you have with this is that the clerk's position is a bonded position.
Right,
So if they have been convicted of a felony, they'll be ineligible to get a bond.
right. So we can ask the question if they're bondable.
Yep.
But we can't ask them if they've had a felony.
What's on their
And what-
application?
I know it is. And what's the other
Okay.
question? What was the other
If
question?
you're opposed to drug testing.
Oh,
Are you opposed
yeah.
to drug
Are they
testing?
opposed
Am
to
I
testing?
post-drug
No.
testing?
No, the potential employee.
Well, I understand. Okay, that's a good point because if you don't have this in your rules, you can pre-employee test for drugs. But since the city clerk is not a safety sensitive employee, it cannot be randomly tested or basically at all after they're in the
But-
employ.
Because of KCC and the gas company, whoever answers the phone has to be drug tested.
Stephanie told me she had to be
Yes,
drug
I had
tested
to be
4 times a
Stephanie
year.
was.
She was drug tested frequently.
The KCC?
KCC, that's a requirement if you have anything to
she's
do
the
with the
one that
gas
told me
line. So maybe you hire them as city clerk / utility billing clerk or
So
something.
when you do a drug test, what is that? Like a pee test?
Mhm.
Like, why wouldn't you do like a hair follicle? Because most drugs are out of your system in 36 to 48 hours, except for like 2. So
You're-
if they're
well,
doing the main
now,
big ones
once-
that are bad, you're not even catching them.
Well, the random, you get about a 15-minute notice. The
Yeah.
random drug tests. They call and like, Lisa, I'll be there in 15, 20
No, what I'm
minutes.
Sitting
saying
out
is
front.
you
But
could
the
do a line of
pre-employment-
cocaine on Friday night and be good to go with
The
your pee test
pre-employment-
on Monday morning is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Metabolized it.
But anyway,
Is there a cost factor involved in those? Does it cost more for the hair test than it does the other one?
I don't know.
Let's see if we can find
It's
out.
nice to know the KCC can violate the Fourth Amendment, but there you go. Just one of those
The
things.
pee test they can do right there.
You should do.
So
Okay,
anyway,
so we won't ask them in an interview if they've ever been
Those-
convicted of a felony. We
those are
just
weird
ask if
ones
they-
to drug
if they're
test.
vulnerable.
Then you can say, which includes being
Yeah.
convicted of a felony. You can clarify that.
Hmm.
No, you're just making a statement.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you got a point
I
there,
think
yeah.
there's a
People
problem
don't
with
know what being bonded requires typically,
Right.
so you'd have to clarify, which is fine.
And what is the bondable amount that we've got to have?
50,000.
that. 50?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's high.
$50,000 bond for the court.
Okay. Okay, we will have a special meeting on Monday, the 17th at 7:00
To discuss
to
employee
discuss.
handbook and conduct interviews.
Yeah. We're starting the interviews at 7 also? Okay, all right. Everything starts at 7. Do the interviews first. Okay, let's move on. Mayor, council concerns or comments. All I have is a comment that I was this past Wednesday, I was given a brochure and it's about Wabunsee County doing a countywide cleaning supply drive to support the community care ministries. And it says here, Community Care Ministries provides Wabunsee County community members non-emergency medical care, social service assistance, including but not limited to assistance with rent, utilities, clothing, transportation, food, and pantry, and commodities. Pickup locations are the Alta Vista Fire Station, Eskridge Fire Station, so they must have made arrangements with the Eskridge Fire Station ahead of time, Harveyville, Maple Hill, and the Paxico Fire Stations as well. So, Dolly, you're a business owner. I'm sure Mike wouldn't have a problem with it. Maybe lumberyard, making copies and post them in your windows.
Yeah.
You might even get some business out of it.
You put it on the door and they'll see it every time they go in.
You can put it on both sides and they'll have to see it when they come out too, won't they? Okay, so I wanted to make that announcement, and the pickup date will be April 26th. I had to find it, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And they will, when I say the pickup date, the Wabunsee County employees will come through the area and pick everything up. And that is on a Wednesday from 3 in the afternoon to 6 p.m. So they will do it. The only thing we've got to do is just drop stuff off. And if the business owners want to, I'll come down and pick up what they collected and take it over to the fire station. Or maybe I'll have to ask Mike if the volunteers can do it on Thursdays when they go to their fire call meeting.
Well, if they wanna,
Pick stuff
if
up.
they want, I'll set up a box. We can decorate a box and they can throw their stuff in there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
that won't be a
along that
problem.
line. And then, they can come pick it up as it gets full and take it to the fire station, so it's ready to go.
Put it right there by the shopping carts.
Okay. Okay, does anybody else have any concerns?
I wanted to ask you how your daycare meetings went.
I think there was a lot of information that went out. I wasn't too happy with the number of people that were there. I really thought I was going to get maybe 5 minimum and maybe as many as 10 just because of the responses that I saw on Eskridge Watch as well as the phone calls I was getting. But there was some good information out there, and I'm glad you brought that up because one of the people who were there is a member of the Eskridge Park Board, and something was said about a grant that y'all might be working on. And I know of another park board grant that maybe can tie in with yours if it's not the same one. And I'll get with you afterwards. Okay. After we meet tonight.
What are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about daycare, but we jumped into the park
I don't know
board
what.
having a meeting. You're having a meeting tomorrow night, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I get some information to you tomorrow on a grant that I'm seeing that is specific to parks.
Okay.
And it's to the FHRC. And I had the impression that this individual told me that you guys were working on a park grant and didn't know much about it. But regardless, I'll give you that get that information tomorrow, and then you can take it and run with it down there tomorrow, or down here tomorrow night. Okay.
The girl that owns the dumpster, she, by the way.
Okay.
She sneaked in.
Yeah. Now that I can see her, she's hiding behind you guys.
I know.
Okay,
You know,
and
blocking her.
the other thing about the daycare, this meeting was designed because we can't do anything this year about daycare in Eskridge because the grant applications expire May 1st and prior of every year. It happens every year, they expire May 1st. But we have to have X number of community meetings as part of the requirement to getting this grant. And the school Mission Valley wants to put a daycare out there, mainly for their employees, but it would be available. They have open seats for community members as well. But I'm not interested in getting a grant. I hate to say it. I'm not interested in the city going to the trouble of getting a grant for the school. I want the grant to be used within the city.
Agreed.
It could be a home. It could be a downtown building that gets refurbished and made into a daycare facility. And there's up to $1 million available for that. So if anybody's listening that wants to run a daycare, get with me because there's a good opportunity for somebody to get a business going and pretty much have everything paid for. And the money can also be used to train employees and pay them. So that helps offset their costs for ownership expenses. It's a fantastic opportunity.
And that requires a creation of a nonprofit too, is that?
It does create the nonprofit position as well. Yeah. But
that person the person that takes that on can be paid from that entity.
yes,
Okay.
yes, it can be paid out of that grant money.
Yep.
Now, I can't say that the grant money all has to be sent in 1 year, nor can I say that you get the grant and you can just keep it until you spend it, however many years that takes. I don't have that information. But if somebody's serious about it, then I will get the ball rolling with them and get them hooked up with Holly Boyce, who's, I'm finding out, an expert in tons of stuff about grants. I mean, it's fantastic. And I want to take advantage of her helping us get grants for anything that we do, even if it's sidewalk improvement, park improvement, lake improvement. There's all kinds of things that are out there. So if anybody has a project they want done, they want a property cleaned up, there might even be a grant available to get it cleaned up. Just like I offered those guys several times, I've got the ability to get you a grant that can have your house totally removed at no cost to you, none. And then you can rebuild it if you want to. So anyway, I digress from all that. So anybody have anything else? Thanks, Ken. Okay, Todd.
Quick question. Has anybody worked on getting requests for proposals for moving McGivern's dock? Okay. I didn't know if anybody checked it out or anything, or what's the status, or, last meeting I mentioned that they hadn't moved it, they weren't gonna do anything.
It's still there.
Okay. We need help with that, you need me to draft it up, or, basically you're just looking for a company to come out there and take the dock away. And I'll give them notice beforehand before you're gonna do it, but that's what you gotta do. And then is the shoreline fixed up at all, or is it still looking rough?
I haven't walked down to it, but from the trees, it doesn't look like they've done
Anything? Okay.
much.
Because when I was down there, they had torn out all the cement.
Mm-hmm. And it's
They have to rock.
not back fully.
Okay. Well, regardless, that's what you two birds with one stone. If you got somebody who's doing the dock, that's probably specialized, I would assume, right? They're not going to do landscaping too. So, that's,
Well, yeah, would you do that?
okay, yeah, sure. And then you guys just figure out who to get to Lisa the addresses or names of folks that you think you can do that. I don't know if there's local folks or that guy from Missouri or
Anybody that builds docks at the lake, yeah, that's
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Okay. So
Well, that leads me to something that I wanted to talk about, which was the floating dock that's over. Did you guys talk about that yet?
No.
The floating dock that's
Just get
over
ready.
by the rope swing, which is now one of two, because there's one down by the east culvert that was put in.
Who builds docks and just launches them?
Well, it was posted on Lake
I saw it.
Wabunsie, and one of the residents
That's
were
what I'm
wanted to
bringing
know
up
who
with the
approved the dock and talking about the beer cans being down there because the residents were curious or whatever. And I mean, there was comments of that's their high tax dollars at good use and all types of stuff on there. But anyway, I went down and checked
Yeah,
the
you
dock
do have a
out,
picture,
and
'cause I
there
was-
is no number on the dock. So
Right.
once again, it's somebody at the lake who isn't abiding by our ordinances because it's not numbered.
I went out there too and took pictures of it.
So somebody just put it out there? Or
No,
somebody-
I think
No,
it
it's-
It's
broke
somebody's
away.
dock.
It
This was
broke
a
away
floating
somewhere.
dock, and
There's
they
a-
never went and put the numbers on it like we require, and it's now floated away. So there's no tracing it back to where it's from.
What I've noticed is there's a rope tied to the end of it. And when you pull the rope and look at the end of it, it's frayed where it has definitely rotted out and broke loose off that rope. The
So
side
what
end.
do we do about that dock? Because we have no way to track the person down.
I mean, that's,
I could use that lumber.
Yeah,
Tow
that's
it
what-
over.
yeah, just, I
to
would
the-
include it in the request that you're gonna have. They'll just have somebody come out and remove it and scrap it. I mean, it's probably a cost that you guys are gonna have to bear if somebody comes in and says,
Instead of scrapping it,
Yeah.
can we
I was
claim
gonna
it?
say, I'll remove it for free.
I'll help
Sure.
you. I'll help you and we'll share it.
But
Okay,
instead
fair
of,
enough.
can we as a city claim it and have it somewhere? Because we have docks that are in disrepair right now. Can we claim it as our own and put it somewhere?
But at the end of the
I don't know
road,
why not.
flats.
Yeah.
Is this considered found property? We have to give the sheriff a notice.
I mean, it's actually unclaimed property that would go to the state.
We don't want them to know about it. That's
Well,
what
they're
you're
not
saying.
they're not gonna take a dock. Come on. They barely take money.
When I
Give it
called
to
the
them.
police over the boat, that paddle boat that was there last year, they said, nope, it was on our property. It's currently abandoned. We didn't have to do anything about it. We didn't have to have the sheriff.
And
out
it
there
is
at all.
wedged up on some rocks on the dam right now.
Well, I would
So-
say that you guys, everything I say, you guys can appropriate the dock because ultimately, if somebody comes in and says it's mine, then you basically, they could, if they want to bring an inverse condemnation action because you've appropriated their dock, then that's fine. And when they sue you guys for that, we'll counter sue them for, all the violations that they performed and trespass, and it won't go very well.
There's also 55-gallon barrels underneath it.
Terry, I'd be glad to include the information about the floating dock that's up against the dam in my email
Mhm.
that's gonna go out tonight or tomorrow, but should we put a date in there that said if it's not claimed by April 15th?
No,
I say seize it now.
Well, and I'm saying every minute it's there, it's
susceptible
They're at
for
their
us.
risk,
Yeah.
at their risk of loss of that.
But what if they don't know it's been lost?
Then they didn't read your email.
Yeah, well, no, they're,
No, I'm saying.
well, they're real, they are owners of real property within the county. They are charged with notice of everything that goes on their real property. They cannot claim, to not know that something happened.
I don't understand that, because if you've got some weekender that hasn't been out to the lake for a month or so, how do they know that their dock, that this has torn away from the main dock?
They may not know, and that's a problem for them, because that's their the real estate that they have, that they own. If they're only there part-time, they take the risk that somebody's going to come on their property and do something, and they won't find out about it for a month. That's not our problem. If you're not there to watch your property, which is the dock and your own real estate, you assume that risk. So we're not going to give people, we're not policing the lake to give people time to figure this out. I mean, if your dock floats off, you have failed in your maintenance duties. Safe to say?
Sure.
I mean,
I would ask the council to be more neighborly than that approach and give the people a few days to make a claim.
Well, it's like, I have to agree with Todd, Richard, in the respect that they have until we get it removed to remove it themselves. So if you put it in our newsletter and we don't get it for 10 days, they've had 10 days to come and
But
get
what
it.
if you take it tomorrow?
Then they're SOL.
That's tough.
I agree with Richard that in the fact that, there's a line between what we can do and what we should do. I realize that we can do that, and I respect that. That's your job as our lawyer to give us that, remind us what we can do and what can not do. But what we should do is a different thing, often is.
And that's perfectly fair. The grace that you extend to them is within your discretion.
They're already in violation for not having it marked. Like, we gave them clear dates to do so for 2 years, and they're in violation right now.
Yeah, if that, you had that number on it, they would have a phone call.
Well,
And yeah, exactly.
did the
If they
other
would've
piece
had
of it have it? I don't know.
I mean, there's no piece gone.
No, it's not.
Literally
Well, if it
floated
came
down.
off
If it came off another dock. is what
Of
I'm saying.
a dock, and
It
that
was
could have the
attached.
number still. And
I mean,
How
stuff
would,
happens.
how would it be attached? Just by,
I think
are you
this
saying they
is
got
part
a
of
dock
another
and then they
dock.
have another dock just attached by a rope?
I don't know. That looks
I
like
don't
a
know.
mighty
They don't have
small
a dock.
dock to me, but maybe it's angle. Who knows? But I mean,
How
that
big,
is
how big is it, do you think?
Oh,
I
it's-
didn't measure it.
it's not,
if I was to guess,
It's
maybe
under
8 foot
standard
square.
size or a little bit
Okay.
under.
It
It's
might
not
be
an
8 foot
oversized
square.
dock at all.
Well, but you say, that looks like it's like
I mean, it's not
Look at
20
that
by
and say
24
that's
or anywhere near.
4 by 5 or something.
And we are
like
supposed to
that.
have, we're supposed to have the numbers on the front and the back.
Could very
so
well be.
It would take both sides to be falling off. for
I
that.
don't know why you would have that as an extension of another dock, but I'm just saying, I don't know. Something may have happened with it.
To hold the
Came off
kayaks that you
somehow.
don't tag.
Damn.
Gosh dang.
Sounds like a good.
Well, I don't know.
Plausible
We're
logic
doing
there.
great.
I've said my piece on it.
Keep on the regular dock and then sign off and then toss out there when grandkids are there.
That's
That's not legal though.
I know, but that's what I think.
So then that's a
what
grand
it look
violation.
like.
And just push it off.
Yeah, here's a,
What happened to the grandkids that were on?
I may be soft-hearted, but
I mean,
I
honestly,
would like,
I'd like to get my stuff back if I didn't realize something happened. I mean, stuff happens.
here's
It's
a,
water,
here's
there's
a close up
erosion.
of it.
So
You
then
can
what
spread it
would
out,
we,
you can see the rope right
agree
here
on
where
for a
it
fine
ends,
for
where it's
them
sprayed
breaking
on
our
the end.
ordinance and not having a
How
number?
big is
David,
it?
I'm-
is
I'm
there's no
saying
fine written
At the
in there
most, it's
for
a
that
absolute
ordinance?
most 10 by 10.
Specific
Then
amount.
you
Nothing
can't just
smaller
slap a
than
fine
that.
on it, as
Okay.
far as
But
I
we can
understand
decide
how
on one
fines work.
today.
Take a look at the
But I think
lumber
you need
that's
to
going
have it in the ordinance then.
from the
That's
shore to
pretty
the
good
lake.
Change the
So
ordinance.
scot-free
It's
then.
in real good shape.
Once again.
I'm saying
There's a
we
couple
can't
freight
enforce
boards,
the
that's
rule
it.
we don't actually have in our book.
It's, and we are supposed to
the-
have it numbered.
The fine.
What's the fine for not having it numbered?
I don't think there's a set fine.
So then we should,
I mean, you get,
Declare a fine.
it would be under the standard penalty, which would be up to $1,000, up to 6 months in jail.
When did you
We're not
first-
gonna do that, but there's a generalized penalty if you violate any section of the city code. That's section 1116. So I think that's right. If I remember right, it's $1,000 maximum fine and 6 months in jail.
Did any of you see the post on the lake?
I saw the beginnings of it. I didn't keep up with it.
Because to me, the way I read it is that it was kind of attacking the city and kind of being facetious and kind of being all of that, and then throwing in the comments with it and stuff. I don't know. I just like
It was from the get go. The who approved this?
Right.
I mean, no, it's approved it.
and that's
throw it
kind
away. It's
of
pretty
the
obvious.
consensus attitude out there, but yet we still
I
keep.
mean, there's kind of an attitude at the table too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be real friendly if I was a lake resident and I'm saying like stuff like that
Yeah.
because you guys can laugh, but
I'm laughing because you are now a lake resident.
the lake resident?
Yes, you are.
What are you talking about?
You missed last meeting. You're now a lake resident.
Am I? Okay.
As is everybody.
As long as we're not calling them lake people.
Well, I don't pay
As
the
long as
fee that
everybody,
they
as long
pay
as
for
you're
the
a resident of Wabunsee County, you're now a resident. Just for lake purposes. For
You guys can
permits.
explain this to me after. I don't see how it's relevant. But whatever.
Sorry, that's
Anyway,
that's all I was
I
laughing
don't
at.
I don't see why we can't give them a grace period. Hey, get it gone by this date, or it's gone. We take it permanent.
Well, it's not like we haven't given grace periods for everything else that goes on around
This is
here.
not everything else. This
No,
is this
no, I'm
specific
agreeing with you.
situation. I don't know why we always
I'm
like
agreeing.
go.
I'm agreeing with you.
And
I'm agreeing with
I
you.
didn't get
Give
a
it away now.
chance to
Stick to the window.
finish my statement, but I would be willing to let Richard post it in an email to give somebody a chance to at least claim it. If they don't, they don't. And it's
Absolutely.
Claiming or removing?
Removing.
both.
Yeah.
Take it.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
what's the time
mine.
period you want
I
to
say
give them?
claiming as removing, but
Well, that's, I'm lawyering it here. Claiming, it's mine. I'll move it sometime.
fair. So will we. But
I'm good on P.
But yeah.
That'll be mine.
I agree with giving some kind of a notice or through Richard or
Well,
I think that's
and,
great. That
and
you're
let them know that
willing
we
to post
will
that.
take
Well-
care of the dog if they don't.
Yeah.
But he needs a date.
But-
Is what he's asking.
I know.
The 17th. That's 1 week,
And that gives them a weekend.
and that
if they
gives
can't
us
Yeah.
a
Get
meeting.
out here
Right.
during the week.
Right.
Be sure and put in.
I'm
there.
sure most of the residents saw it on the Lake Wabunsee
Yes.
watch page.
That's not necessarily
I-
true. There's
I'm
really
not
not
so
very many
sure.
people on that page, and it's very inactive. So Facebook wouldn't be throwing that algorithm out. Just throwing that out there.
Don't have to be so angry.
Let's just do the email. I say a week. If you guys are all right with that, then we can email it out.
Grace is all we give.
Then we don't
I
have to pay
just
money
point out the
to do something.
But isn't there's also an opportunity to get money out of that dock, is there not?
True.
Because they haven't registered it,
I don't know.
they haven't got it tagged.
That doesn't mean they haven't paid their.
Yeah, they can pay the dock fee. It doesn't.
You just haven't done that.
It's gone.
Just the
It's
number.
not the same as boats.
But if somebody takes it and don't tell us who it is, how do we know who it belonged to? That's my point too.
Let's go down there and dump paint all over it.
No,
Branded.
So that does pose the question, if somebody gets it and pulls it back to their place, then how do we know to send them a letter to tell them they're out of compliance and ordinance with our not numbering the docks?
I thought that's what Robin was for. What happened to that?
So she's supposed to track it down when they come pull it back to their property?
I thought she was supposed to be going around those docks and making sure they were all labeled. Again,
Is there a way you could put a footnote in there that said the city asks that the owner, when it's claimed and removed, the city asks that the numbers be put on the dock to be compliant with city
Well, I
ordinances?
can put in there, that's a good point, Justin, that the dock has no identification as required by city ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and had it been, we would have been able to call them.
Yeah, we could have been.
Would have saved us the last one.
Yeah.
Once again,
Once again, yes.
the council as a group is being a bigger person and giving them a chance.
Boy, we're good people.
And I don't
Is that
think
supposed
that's a
to be?
bad thing.
Are we?
This will just help get you into heaven, Brad.
I won't.
Ah,
I've been fed.
Just
Is that a motion? Is there a motion?
Personal.
Is there a motion?
do we need a motion
We'll have a
to
discussion.
Do we need one?
approve it?
I mean, he's just emailing them.
I'll put
Well,
that.
I just
I think
say
it's council directed, but.
Yeah.
I think we put it under continuing business for our next meeting. If it's still there, we'll do something. If it's not there, then we're done with it.
There you go.
I like it.
Plan good.
That's what I said.
It's not a bad
Approved.
thing.
I moved to go into a 5-minute executive session for non-elected personnel, including
one Lisa Service.
Will you be done then, or?
Yes, totally. That's why I wanted to do it after everything
Oh.
else. So
I wasn't
nothing
here
else
for
to
the
vote on.
building, so I wanted to add something.
You what now?
It's gonna be repealed. It's not gonna be enforced. It's gonna be repealed.
Right, but as far as that job goes,
Can
I
this
want
young
us to
lady
require
present?
the person to
Or-
neuter it.
come on
so
up here.
that's what I
Come
wanted
on
to talk
around.
about.
I'm sorry.
That's a good point.
Oh, wait a second. What's her name?
Cutie.
Ashlyn?
Yeah.
Is that all you wanted to do? Is just end him?
Yeah, my husband was supposed to give it to him, but
Do you need a copy?
Yeah,
I
why don't
took
you
a
make a
picture of
copy?
it.
Okay, but
Is that
you
good?
guys, can you send me the pictures too that were on Facebook? or
Yeah, are
whatever?
you able to text me that email like that?
Here, this is what I'll do. A little better.
Thank
I
you for
stopped by
being
at your
patient.
place a couple times in the last 2 weeks. I stopped by a couple times at your place.
Emails on there.
Y'all either ignored me or nobody was home.
Usually I work
I'm not
Monday
included
through
in the
Saturday.
executive
Your husband during the day as well, or
He's
day
always
sleeper?
sleeping.
What?
He's
I'm
off
not included in
Monday
the
through
executive
Thursday.
session.
That's fine.
But he's usually like up and active around the afternoon.
Well, I'll try to get up and see
Didn't sound
you
like
at some point.
Huh?
Okay.
I just
Didn't
want
sound
to
like
chat
it.
I
with
can
you.
always give you our number too. You can
Okay,
just call.
you want to do that?
Yeah.
Sure. You said Ashlyn,
Ashley.
A-S-H.
And you say it out loud
ASHLY.
now,
Did they
it's all over
remove, somebody said they
Facebook.
removed the jacuzzi from the,
Yeah, just the hot tub, but that's all they took was the hot tub.
but there was other stuff in there.
A lot more than
All right.
Could you write it down so we don't announce it to the world?
that. Yeah.
I'll take this home and just purposely set it in front of my wife's dinner table chair. So she can say, Ashley and a phone number.
Please call.
Yeah, please call.
Terry, Richard has
Draw a little
something.
hard on it.
Yes,
Are you still looking for a solution to trash at the rope swing?
we're always looking for improvements regardless.
Do you have a means of emptying the dumpster over there?
We
There's
don't,
not one there, no.
I was gonna say, I didn't know there was even one over there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
think-
don't think there's going to be one over there because the trash truck can't go across the dam to get it.
Well, it's been in the past that the bait house operator is responsible for taking that dumpster over to where.
And how they gonna load that up and do that?
Move that.
Oh, one of the black dumpsters, right, on the with wheels, not a big dumpster, it's just a regular trash can,
Well,
right?
even one of those blue ones.
I don't think it's in the contract this year, so I mean, that's a moot point.
Besides that, why are we encouraging somebody to go to an area that is dangerous to them?
Well, once the rope swing's gone, I mean, I'm
Just
sure
because
it
you're
won't
over
be-
there drinking a soft drink or not
Or
soft
not.
drink, that doesn't mean you have to get on the rope swing.
Well, it doesn't mean we have to pay to have their trash hauled off either. They should be responsible enough to do it themselves.
Is there still a rope swing out there?
There
There
is
was.
still a rope swing out there.
In
Yeah.
eternity. It regenerates.
It was never taken down.
Well,
I'm
taken
sure
down.
It was taken down once and put right back up
It's not over there.
by somebody.
In
That
higher.
wasn't my contract.
The limb was
Make
cut
sure
down
that
and he went to a higher limb.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know,
The
there's
same
not a
person
dumpster
did that,
there.
I think.
So, can I get a second on my motion?
I don't remember what your
Second.
motion was.
No, yeah. Exec section.
Oh, yeah.
Executive session for personnel, 5 minutes.
What were you,
With
why were you
Lisa
asking?
Cernich.
I think LWID could help you out.
Oh, really?
I think so too.
That would
But
be
since
lovely.
there's no rope swing and there's no trash,
There's no second yet.
never mind.
Yeah, Michelle seconded it.
Oh, she did?
I would
Sorry.
love to hear that help.
Said it like this.
No, I didn't.
Let's,
You weren't listening, mister
Sorry.
attorney.
okay, we need to vote on the executive session by Tim, seconded by Michelle. Those in favor? Okay, we're going to executive session here.
Kids?
Good one. Let's go.
Don't have too,
What?
don't have too much fun.
Oh,
Don't be
yeah.
such a stranger, John.
Have a good evening.
Okay. You guys go up till 11.